One of my coworkers was working 14-hour days for 3 years continuously because he had to pay off his mortgage. One day, he actually collapsed and almost died at his desk. He was rushed to the emergency room. They had to do emergency surgery. And then what really opened up my eyes was when he came back a week later, he just pretended like nothing had happened. He just continued working. I don't want to do this. This doesn't make any sense.
If you're used to waking up every Monday morning and thinking about, oh, here's what I have to do at work, instead, you wake up with this clear head thinking, what do I want to do?
Don't you want a nap?
Yeah, take a nap.
Take a nap. Take a nap.
I just want a nap.
Early retirement for me was a way of making my life less prone to worrying events and more prone to day-to-day gratitude.
Retire has a connotation of being older or sitting on the couch or moving to Florida to play golf.
A lot of people want to retire and then like sit on the beach and do nothing. That's not really interesting to me. I would love to continue working on projects.
I think a better way to view retirement is getting to a state where you're no longer wishing for some imaginary future. You're no longer running towards some finish line that may or may not be a real thing.
Some people never reach this in their lives. Some people never experience like a retirement, and I think that's fundamentally wrong.
Financial independence to me is just a type of freedom, and I think freedom is something that everyone has the right to sort of strive toward.
How do you afford the coffee every day, man? It's like $4 a latte.
So I only get $3 coffee.
What's the dollar difference?
It's the dollar difference.
So you're spending like $100.
It's an investment in my mental health. Someone might be going for a drink every day that's like $5 to $6, whatever. Like this is my one thing. And I think you should be able to give yourself the one thing that you think.
I guess that's what FIRE is all about.
Is like, yeah,
being able to do that.
I'm Quan Luong. I'm a Vietnamese filmmaker currently living in Winnipeg in the middle of Canada. I've been here for 6 years and I'm 23 now.
Can you sustain a comfortable lifestyle and also get everything you want at the same time? Because that sounds like the perfect fucking world.
My name is Bawa. I'm a South Asian filmmaker from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I am 35 despite looking 27.
The FIRE movement, I discovered it because I read Your Money, Your Life. It's a lifestyle where you save 60 or 70% of your income and invest it somehow that one day you have enough money to cover your expenses forever.
Seems too easy.
The premise of the book is if someone put a gun to your head and ask your money or your life, which one would you choose? And you should always choose your life, in my opinion.
I kind of want to see like how extreme are these people who are like, you know, writing books about this and who are committing their lives to this movement. Do you think they really don't go to Starbucks or really don't eat out? I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone can do that for longer than 2 years.
I agree. You're younger than me. I'm older than you. Like, in my headspace, I should be settling down at this point in my age. Not that I have to, but like, you know, traditionally, most people are settling down. So like, my brain is kind of going to, is this sustainable? Like, can I like live comfortably? Are these the happy years of my life where I just enjoy myself? I don't know. This is my dad's house. It's gone on sale recently. It's the first time I'm seeing the for sale sign, which is weird. It was supposed to be a short-term, Ian's out of elementary school, we move, but then my sisters got married. You know, it was just me and my parents in this house when my sister moved out when I was like 10. So it was just us. So this is my childhood home. Welcome to a home of tomorrow. Today, it was after my mom passed away and my dad and I were grieving so much. I didn't know what I wanted for my life. I ended up being in school for law, and then when I shift to film, I was like, oh, if I live at home, I can save more money. And like, and take a chance on an art form that isn't gonna be successful maybe. Like, I don't know. I could live at home comfortably, work casually, save money. My dad passed away in October of 2020. And February 26th, on his birthday, I come over to check on the house and it's flooded, pure water everywhere. And it was fucking awful, it was brutal. And I had to get insurance involved, and basically they had to gut out the main floor in the basement. So this house that was never touched all of a sudden is looking brand new. It's very weird because it's like, doesn't even feel like my dad's house anymore. It feels like a house that is just there.
We weren't rich. I feel like money was like, it didn't seem tight, but I think we were definitely middle class. My parents had blue-collar jobs. My mom was a dietary aide at a nursing home, and my dad was a postal service clerk. I don't think we were poor. We lived in a nice house. We had TV, we had cable. When computers came out, I got a computer. But, you know, you look back and you go, I don't think we were rich too, but maybe my parents just had a standard line of like, no, we give our kids just the right amount.
Hôm qua dỗ bố mẹ có làm gì không?
Không, mẹ chỉ về bà ngoại thôi. Làm có nhà bác Trinh, nhà bác Tú. Ăn chung vậy thôi rồi về thôi. Chưa về.
Có lên mộ bố không?
Mộ bố thì tuần rồi mới lên, thì tuần sau đi với ông bà nội nữa nè. Chủ nhật lên nữa.
Dạ. Hồi xưa mới khổ chứ hả? 10 năm trước mới khổ, như giờ đỡ.
10 năm trước đúng là ngó lại thấy cũng khổ thiệt. Hồi đấy thì mình ăn chắc mặc bền, coi như tự nấu nướng, tự ăn uống. Lúc đó mà bố mất là mình còn cái nhà chưa có xong, còn thiếu 1 tỷ. Cho nên là bán xe hơi, bán tất cả mọi thứ để trả tiền thợ. Sau rồi bắt đầu làm lại từ đầu.
The first half of my life, I really didn't have to worry about money as much. You know, my dad was working as an engineer and my mom was working for the local hydro company. But then my dad got sick when I was 10 or 11 and passed away when I was 13, and that really changed the outlook of money for me. Seeing my mom struggle and still manage to put me through with a good education in a foreign country. Because of that, I really didn't want to be a burden to my mom, so I really wanted to make sure that I started working early and not have to rely on parental support.
Saving money can be a tough thing to do. For millennials, it's proving even more difficult. 4 in 10 say they felt overwhelmed by debt. More than half reported living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of the debt concerns were traced to outstanding student loans. If there's one silver lining from the study, the Great Recession taught millennials about the importance of saving for retirement, though nearly half said they had not yet begun.
The pandemic was supposed to be the death knell of FIRE. Just like everyone else in like February of 2020, we weren't sure because I had never been through a pandemic before. But now on the other end of it, not only have we survived, we have more money than when we started. The need for FIRE is even more widespread throughout the world because everyone's now realizing that jobs can disappear at any time. Are you going to be prepared for it? And that message is resonating quite a bit now.
This is my little apartment. I'm living here with a friend and his girlfriend. I moved in here during COVID to save money. Went from $1,100 a month to now $500 a month. 10-foot ceiling, 2-bedroom, more than enough. It's my bike. It's kind of nice to have a bike in Winnipeg. At first, I was kind of worried that I'd spend too much money on a bike, being $500. But then I thought about if I save $50 a month on gas, I can just bike for 2 summers and make that money back. So right now I'm 23, and I think I can reach financial independence by 30. I think what appeals to me is the freedom and the time, and how I'm gonna do that is through the stock market and hopefully through some real estate. By owning rental property, it might be enough and quicker to reach FIRE, and I really saw that happening through Ian. In a way, I think Ian has reached financial independence.
So this is where I live. I lived in this area for the last like 5 years. I moved out from my dad's house when I was 31. I moved into that far corner one, the very last one there, but that is my rental property now. After living there, I bought this one and then used that one as rental and was like, oh, I can charge $1,000. And I kind of like planned my life where I was like, all the money that the renter pays for that pays for this place. And I'm like, wow, I kind of accidentally life hacked my life with money. Okay, and here's a really important roommate. That's Diamond. Oh, I know, you were so excited. Look at this. But yeah, it's a 1-bedroom with a basement. It works out for me. It's unique and kind of cool, and it allows me to have a dog. Like, look at her. She has one eye. Like, she's so cute, and she's the sweetest dog in the world.
Basically, I started like not working to make money, just working for fun about 3 years ago when I bought this place. Because by then I was making passive income from my rental property. So I had money coming in there. Quickly show you the bedroom. Sliding doors is very adult. And let me tell you what's also very adult. Having your bed against the wall, not centered to the room. Believe me, I tried. You can't because this room is weirdly built. This place is small. You are literally standing in the bedroom, I'm in the kitchen, and the living room's right there. That's how small this like upstairs is. It's a little annoying when you have a girl over or something, but that happens often.
This is my room, very small and modest. My bed, tons of gear. Got a little closet, I don't have much. Actually, it's way too much. I wish I have less. For the last 5 years, I've been moving around every single year. So this is the place that I've stayed in the longest since I've been in Canada. 1 year and 2 months. How crazy is that? I feel like I live in a U-Haul. Sometimes I think about just renting by myself again or just buying a house. But then I think about my monthly bill and how low it is right now. It's a constant battle. Like, is this thing worth it?
I live in this house because it maintains my means. I can afford nicer, bigger, but I choose not because I like having an easy, non-stress life. Money equals stress, in my opinion. Having too much of it can equal more stress. And that's the funny thing. I'm scared to say I'm living F.I.R.E. because I'm not as organized as those, like, some of these, like, weird YouTube videos I've seen where it's these people, like, with their spreadsheets and stuff, like, organizing their life. I'm fearful of numbers and learning how much I spend in a year. I'm so scared at looking how much I spend on coffee in a week. Maybe I have to in order to understand what I need to do to have the right amount that I need to survive in a year. Whatever I'm doing, by avoiding it, has been working so far. Do F.I.R.E. people travel? That's something we need to find out. Because if so, how do you do it frugally? $15 breakfast right here. Not cheap, very mediocre.
I got this, was just $8. But I did walk all the way to Starbucks because I know that's the cheapest. It's the same thing, but half the price. I don't need
No,
bread.
I got like hash browns and 3 eggs and like bacon.
It's $8, it's fine. It's so cheap. There's the F.I.R.E. conference in Cincinnati where there's tons of speakers that I was hoping we can talk to, but there are also people who are just regular 9-to-5 people who achieve F.I.R.E. and now traveling around in their RV.
It's funny that the movement has gotten to the point where there's a F.I.R.E. conference. Quan, right here. Quan.
About you guys, but financial independence and early retirement sounds a hell of a lot more appealing if I've got someone to hang out with. If you're sitting in this room today, I suspect that, like me, you value community.
So F.I.R.E.'s financial independence, retire early.
It is a movement, if you will.
Probably at least 30 or 40% of the entire US population has heard about F.I.R.E.
So the basic concept is you reduce your expenses, increase your income to create a gap, and then you take that gap and you invest it in assets that will work for you when you're not working. And you get to the point where those assets return more than you need to live on, and you are financially independent.
So instead of having to trade time for money, I can accumulate enough capital that my real estate or my investments produce enough income so that I don't have to work.
It's gonna feel like you're stumbling upon this amazing secret when in fact it makes perfect sense.
I've done a lot of soul searching and I am trying to find my courage, and I think with your help, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna quit my job. My dear co-bitch, would you please, for the people, read my letter of resignation?
Hi, Kay. I am writing to inform you with great degradation that I am resigning from my position as brand manager. My last date will be 2 weeks from today. My time with the company has been very soul-sucking.
FIRE was forged in us like simultaneously by being like, remember that time we didn't have anything to eat?
Yeah, we didn't have any money for food until the next day was payday, and there was literally no food left in the apartment. So my roommates were like, we're all just gonna take NyQuil and go to sleep.
When I was young, I thought that money was scarce, and so I clutched onto it as tightly as I could because I was worried that there would never be enough.
You know, I was the guy who was before this, you know, sitting there first 10 minutes of the day in bed on Mint, you know, scrolling through my budget like, am I gonna be okay? You know, just like all this ball of anxiety about finances.
I was born in a small rural village in China, and then at one point my family was living on 44 cents a day. So from a very young age, my thought was that I will never have enough. I fear I don't have enough money to take care of myself. I'm gonna be a burden on my parents, and that's one of the reasons why I deliberately chose a career that wasn't about following my passion, and it was really about being able to survive and having enough money to provide for myself and not have to rely on my parents.
Yeah, I've been retired for 16 years, which is way longer than I ever worked. It's kind of funny. I finished my career before becoming a dad, so I could put that first. I kind of suck at whatever I'm putting second in my life. I'm not very good at it. So I would either be a good dad and a bad software engineer, or vice versa, and neither of those was a good outcome for me.
I made a bad joke to my niece and nephew one day. I said, life's all about just finding the thing you like the most till you die. It's a very morbid joke, but like it was kind of semi-true where I was like, yeah, like I like hanging out with my dog and like it's a cheap thing to do.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, there's always a million choices of what you can do with your time. And then there's a million levels of enjoyability. Some things are unpleasant, some are great. But the cost, it's often totally unrelated to cost.
From the day I left my parents' house to the day I reached financial independence, it was 5 years, 3 months, and 6 days, and I'd saved $1.25 million shortly after turning 30.
And I retired at 40.
And I retired at 35, so I beat him, yay.
Right when we turned, I think 31 and 32, we hit $1 million, and we were just kind of like, I think we're done.
So I'm 37, and so we hope to get to FI in about a year.
I'm 35 right now, so I'll be 36.
We think about 1.8 million or so is kind of our FI number.
For me, that'll be just barely 35.
Should I be conservative with this number or liberal with this number? I'll be conservative, probably 42.
Put 40.
We're building a lot now.
I am going to stop working when I hit 1 million, but my husband is then going to continue working until we hit 2 million.
I want to do it by 30 now.
I've always had the number 2.5 million in my head. I don't think I'd ever stop working. I don't think I'd ever stop writing. When do I think I hit that number? I mean, at the rate that I'm going, it still feels like it's going to be regular retirement age.
It's a little difficult for me to say like, oh, I reached it at X age, because that implies a binary. It implies a 0, 1, yes, no, light switch on or off construct. And I believe FI is a spectrum, not a binary. I can tell you I became a millionaire, meaning my net worth was greater than 1 million at the age of 31.
I like to distinguish between get FI versus become FI. Because a lot of people ask me like, how do I get financial independence? It's kind of like when you want to lose weight and you want to be healthy, and then I'm going to go on this diet for a month and all of a sudden I drop weight and then I'm going to be healthy forever. No, you're going to gain the weight back in 6 months. If you want to be healthy, you become a healthy person. You don't just get a diet and then just get healthy. It's about becoming financially independent, not getting financially independent.
I think I'm FI? I don't know. I'm like trying to figure that out still.
Well,
like,
we'll look
we
at
can
your
run the
spreadsheets
numbers.
then. We'll run the numbers after.
Let me tell you this: the spreadsheets don't exist. Oh, no. I know. Like I said, I'm figuring. So here,
Don't exist. This is something Katie and I have been thinking about for a long time. The basis of it is how to get wealthy, and it shows the difference between what everyone else does and what the FIRE movement teaches.
It's decrease your spending, increase your income, and so that you have a gap. And then it's like, okay, what do I do with that gap? Most people don't even have a gap, or maybe they spend more than they earn.
So they've got their income and they earn X amount a month, and that's what they earn, is fixed. And then their outgoings just kind of like go up and down over the line. Some months they spend more than they earn, some months they spend less. So here, they're like borrowing on a credit card to cover it, then they pay it back the next month, then they go for a fancy holiday, then they pay it back the next month, and they kind of like hover around the line, not going anywhere. But the key to getting wealthy is if this is your income, you need to take your expenses and create like this gap between the two. But that's what no one does. That gap is how you truly become wealthy, but no one does it.
Your object of meditation in this is the dollars that flow through your life and the stuff that flows through your life. So as you buy something, you know, whether it's the latte or whatever you buy, you actually translate that purchase into how many hours of my life did I invest in this? And is this how I want to spend my life?
The way that some people might organize their life is they achieve a certain living standard, and in the short term, that sort of raises their happiness, right? So they think, oh, this is great, like I'm living in a nice house, I've got a nice car, so I feel better about myself. And then at some point, that becomes the new benchmark. The things which I currently have no longer make me happy. I now want something else to kind of boost my happiness again.
Is it a very North American mindset, just like this whole concept right now, because consumption here is a lot higher?
I would say yes, and like that's why I write about it, is I'm trying to get people to consume less. My writing is disguised as early retirement and personal finance, but the real reason I do it is to get rich countries to have lower per capita consumption, because that's the only way we're going to help with climate change and not just destroying the whole ecosystem before we have a chance to learn to live within it. But the only way to do that is to make it sound cool. So I'm not just going to be like, hey, you guys, have you looked at the carbon? It's 400 parts per million. We can't do this. So everyone's like, shut up.
We do live in a culture that encourages us to expand our bundle of stuff, fill our garages. People now buy things on eBay and have them delivered to their storage lockers. But it's all part of that more is better mentality.
After the pandemic, you really start realizing, okay, we need to do something about this. It's like once you have enough, stop consuming. The earth can't take it anymore.
Isn't it something crazy like 80% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency or something? That always shocks me when I hear that.
I was born in a poor developing country. I'm the son of an unwed single mother. We migrated to the US when I was 7 years old with quite literally just our bags. When you grow up in sort of these impoverished circumstances, it's very, very easy, especially in a materialistic society like the US, to get into this cycle of poverty where you spend money you don't have to impress people that don't really matter.
I find that so many people out there make enough money, but just don't know how to handle it and to even know if they're spending more than they make or living below or above their means.
I'd been taught to save 5% of my income. I remember my dad shared that with me. And then I just started playing around with some of the numbers, and I was like, I'm gonna need to make $400,000 a year if saving 5% of my income is ever going to give me enough money.
The traditional definition of FIRE is you save 25 times your annual expenses and then you can draw down 4% and never run out of money. Now that model presumes that you also don't earn any additional income. You're just kind of living off your portfolio forever. I know very few FIRE people who actually do that.
If you are going to save some of these crazy claims, like 70% of your income, your lifestyle is choked for as long as you're doing this. Talk about enjoying time with your friends while you're young. It's like that's kind of gone. You can't spend that sort of money, or taking vacations young. Everything is so fanatically in pursuit of a better future.
I think the number one phrase that makes you and I really angry in the FIRE movement is, I can do it so anyone can. That's garbage.
I did it,
That's
so can you.
Total bullshit.
No, I do not think everyone can FIRE, and I think that that's the problem.
Yeah.
From childhood, we are sort of thrust into this situation that focuses on the aspirational nature of a dream career. In first grade, everyone's asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I look back and I'm like, the answer is happy. I want to be fucking happy when I grow up. What you've been acculturated to is becoming a productive member of society, finding your place in the workforce where you can make money for someone else. And most of those places in the workforce are extremely exploitative of labor. They take advantage of people who were not raised in a privileged position, and it just compounds that lack of privilege that those people were raised in. FIRE is a wonderful goal for everyone to have, but an even better goal for people to have is financial stability. There is something to be said for, okay, I'm gonna push because the finish line is in sight.
there's a great argument to be made for delaying some gratification. And there's research that shows that, if you put kids in a room, that's like the marshmallow test. The ones that delay gratification and don't eat the marshmallow and wait, 5 minutes for another one, they track those kids throughout their life and find that they have more successful career prospects. They have better families. Like that ability to delay gratification has actually like real world implications for your life.
What's a problem with FIRE is it's hard. And that's the thing I don't think people have talked about much. Pete's the only one that was like, no, it's not hard.
It's easy as hell.
And I'm like, it's because he has that brain that like...
Yeah, he also realized that he's wired differently. Yeah, that's the one thing that I took away from this, is like, really FIRE is about being happy with where you're at.
I think there's a correlation between minimalism and FIRE.
Oh, sure.
But it's the idea that like, minimalism is about getting rid of like everything you own. It's about keeping the things you like. And FIRE isn't about being completely cheap. It's about smart spending.
And being happy with what you're spending money on.
Yes, exactly.
I'm looking at a house to possibly buy it. It's listed as 205 right now. My mom always told me growing up that no matter what you do, just make sure that you have a roof over your head. Is that my real estate agent? I don't know, deep inside I feel like investing in this house is a good idea. Like part of me feel the pull to like move away to a bigger city. So like buying a house might not be good, but also I like Winnipeg and I like living here. But how do you feel about this whole thing so far? Like,
it's good, man.
Like
I did the little research on the house.
Yeah, I looked it up too. No murders or anything here.
No, it's all good.
Well, it's nice and just the perfect size. We are looking around 240, 250. Yeah.
And look at the amount of showings. You see, this is the amount of cards that were left here for all the agents that came in. Here is us. This is our card, right? So this is all the agents that came in to check it. For tomorrow, there is another full day booked for showings.
Investing is just any asset that produces a stream of income. Traditionally, when we think about investing, that's three major asset classes. Stocks, you have a share in a company. Bonds, you're giving loans to different people, whether that's the government or a business or somebody else. And then there's real estate. That's when you buy a piece of property and you let someone else use it and they pay you for it.
By far the fastest path to financial independence is real estate, without a doubt.
For most people, housing is your largest expense. So if you can convert that from a liability, a monthly bill, into an asset, that frees up so much money.
And if you buy a property, you can rent that out to other people, and the rent is higher than the expenses, you have passive income.
Building any form of income stream that the cash flow from it can basically cover your expenses for the rest of your life is a lot easier than saving up a large pot of money and then living off that interest.
If you live in a relatively lower cost of living area, then house hacking might be a really good opportunity for you.
You buy one property, you leverage it to buy your second that you rent out. You leverage it to buy your third and you rent out. And if you can get enough passive income through rent, you're financially independent.
Canadians are crazy about real estate.
But he sees real estate as the properties that you rent out, not the one you live in.
Yeah.
So he would see your home you live in as a liability.
Right, that's the key
distinction.
That's the key distinction, because Canadians don't make that distinction. They think all real estate is the same.
We did real estate
and they've been
first.
trying to get out of it.
We're desperately trying to get out. Let us out!
So Quan and I are like very different in that, like he's buying a property.
Now. Can we help you avoid it?
Well, it's for me to live in.
Okay. Can we help you avoid it?
Winter has just ended, so there's probably leaves and water. We had a lot of rain the last 2 weeks, so there's probably a bunch of grossness up there that I just got to shovel, but this is part of like home ownership. Like, see, Quan really wants to own property, and Quan really wants rentals, and Quan doesn't understand that there's work involved.
I've never done this before. Can you hold the ladder? I'm scared.
So Quan is invited here today to help me move leaves and water around so he knows how awful it is to actually own rental properties. See, nothing but net. The foundation's mainly bad around this area, so it's kind of crumbling in. So that's why this part pools. So you just gotta come up every once in a while and just clean it. And it's like pretty easy. We don't want the leaves, we want the water. And we just kind of dump it all. No! It's fine if some leaves get in there, but it's also windy as hell today.
I'm scared of height. And do you ever just feel like just hiring someone to take care of these two places and go somewhere else.
Who would do this though? Like, to hire someone to do this probably would be a minimum $300. Look how long it's taken us. It's taken us like 20 minutes best. Like, it's not that hard.
You're saying that I would make 150 today?
I own 2 of these townhouse units. The first one I bought about 5 years ago, and that is now my rental, and I lived in that for about 3 years, and it was basically a fixer-upper when I bought it, and when I walked in, I realized I was not a fixer-upper person. So all I did was paint and live in it and suffered in it, but saved a lot of money. If this place costs, like, is $1,000 to rent, and I charge someone $300 to come up and do this for me, I'm losing so much. So I'd rather just do it myself.
This morning I checked my account. I think it's at 60 grand now, which is not a lot. It's not anything to retire off.
Yeah.
But when you look up a compound calculator, it says that I have enough money for retirement already without even investing any more. Isn't that crazy?
I've had so many people explain to me how compound interest works and how it's this magical principle. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't. No one does.
Yes, what will you do with those extra dollars? Why not put your money to work?
I think people get lost when we hear about saving money and they do the math and say, well, if I save this much, I'll end up with this much in 40 years. If you compound that money and apply some sort of compound interest and a rate of return, something you can achieve in the stock market, you can blow people away with how much you can have by just starting with little amounts and letting that compound for a long period of time.
As humans, we tend to think in linear scales. Compound interest instead is an exponential relationship, and we have a hard time grasping that because each step on that curve becomes so much bigger than the first one.
I don't know. Is this worth 250? I guess I'll try gaming. Sure feels different when you sit down on a couch and just see how big this place is. No, it is a nice little sunroom for sure.
You're working with 700 and change square feet, 760 or something.
I don't know. It seems like 250 is like so high, isn't it? I thought I'd go as high as 235. It's crazy. I don't know, guys. Am I making the biggest mistake of my life? Was it so hard? I have the money.
What's scary about it?
I don't know. Spending 50 grand. Spending my emergency fund.
You said it was an investment earlier.
Yeah, that's true. It is an investment, I guess.
Or is it a roof over your head?
It's both. It's part investment, part roof over my head. This house go a little bit against my FIRE lifestyle because even though like I'm building equity, but it's like living right at my mean, not under my mean, like I've been.
I think everyone gets to define their FIRE journey. I do think that there is a tendency for a lot of people to gravitate towards what we consider hyper-frugality.
All right, let's sign this paper, Pasha. Will it change my life? Maybe. I don't know. Most expensive thing I've ever bought.
Personal finance and even financial independence really overly focus on the savings piece of the equation, where people always are talking about optimization, and cutting back.
So that's the price, 2 initials, here and here. So one here and one here. That's for the property disclosure statements that we already have received it.
Being frugal is one piece of the equation, and it's probably the easiest piece of equation. Yeah. Like it's easy to do nothing. It's advocating for yourself when it comes to salary negotiations and raises and just not being taken advantage of through financial ignorance. Like those are the hard things.
If you are single and you're making $50,000 a year, you probably don't have a spending problem. You probably have an income problem. Growing your income in whatever way you can manage to do so is where your opportunities will be found.
Can I write my name here?
Once I discovered financial independence, it was a massive mind shift. It wasn't about, I don't have enough money, I better hoard as much money as possible because I don't want to be starving to death in the streets. And it was more about, how can I think about money in terms of a tool to reach freedom?
Good luck to us.
Yeah, hopefully.
Does it feel more real?
I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't feel more real. It should feel real. I signed my life away. It's in the back of Ian.
So we're flying to Toronto next. Toronto for us is big, but it makes sense as a next step in life. Like if we want to move on from a small city like Winnipeg, it'll be interesting to be there.
I'm definitely interested in seeing if it's possible to live in Toronto and pursue this.
Actually, we weren't originally planning to go into FIRE at all. We were planning to actually buy a house and be like everyone else, and then work until we're 65 and retire. So that plan completely got blown to smithereens because my work was getting more and more stressful. What is it all for? I'm just gonna die at my desk and then buy a house, and then that's the whole point of this. So we can't do this anymore.
When you get to the root of that problem, it's because work sucks. I do feel like, in a way, FIRE can really be seen as like, well, I'm gonna take my toys and I'm gonna go home. Like, I'm gonna opt out of the rat race.
Look, Quan, it's the CN Tower.
Was it scary when you moved?
Like, just to move to Toronto on a personal level? Sure, yes. Like, I'm originally from Winnipeg, like you guys, so the leap to me was always like, oh, that's the big leagues. I'm gonna go to Toronto where that's where the real professionals are. But it was nice in Winnipeg. I bought my house when I was 24. And to move here and property values are all 5-6 times what they would be there, it became a conversation of, do I want to put all of my eggs into a Toronto piece of real estate?
So in Winnipeg, I know this house would go for
225.
Yeah, exactly. 200 in Winnipeg easily. We're in university area. It looks kind of mediocrely shitty. It's a duplex essentially.
I'm looking it up. I would say it's.
Okay, let's before you do it. Let's guess. In
Say
Toronto,
it's 400 grand for a 3-bedroom.
I'm gonna guess 640 here in Toronto. This house.
What the hell? It's 8 bedrooms. Whoa, it's super nice inside.
Actually?
Yeah. It is the front.
Holy shit!
It's 1.7, but it's 8 bedroom, 3 bath.
It's almost $2 million.
Wait, no, but look at how nice it is inside. Let's see how far we have to go from Toronto.
To find something that we can actually afford?
No, yeah, afford, and it's more comparable and makes more sense. Like, I'm not living in an 8-bedroom house.
We're from Winnipeg.
It must be like pretty pricey here, right? Like,
Yeah, well, not 30 years ago.
oh, really?
Well, the difference would be like, I wouldn't be buying that on my own. It would be me and you living together.
I never agreed to this.
I'm agreeing to it right now.
I feel like we can do better and find even cheaper spots.
I'd have to sacrifice so much to live here, and I don't want to.
Oh, $599 house, 2 plus 1. We gotta go there.
We gotta go. How far is it?
Probably like an hour drive or something.
Let's see. Maybe it's the other end of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad area.
No, I don't know.
Not as nice as the other one.
No, it's definitely not as nice as the other one.
Okay, so that's the house.
What is it? 600?
600 grand, yeah.
Exactly?
$599.
$599, yeah.
This is like exactly what we would get if we move here.
I don't want this either. I wouldn't want to. Here's the thing, you live this far, I almost would want a car. It's not reasonable to have a car. I'd be taking a bus. We're also very far away from the city. Think of all the time wasting to travel. I don't know. It doesn't feel like Toronto. It feels like we're just in some random suburb.
That's the trade-off for me living in Toronto right now is I have to rent. I could maybe get myself into the real estate market here, but it would be putting myself in such a strained financial situation that I really don't want to do. Like, I'm very comfortable renting here, whereas if I lived somewhere else, definitely I would be house hacking if I lived somewhere else, 100%.
We've asked people questions of what's their age they want to hit FIRE. We haven't really asked them what their FIRE number is per se. How does someone come up with that number? Like, I have to just budget my life in that sense, but then I go, that seems so limiting.
I'm spending like 20, 25 a year. And I'm like, oh.
That's all you spend? You only spend 25K a year?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you?
How much money do you actually spend a year? How much money do you predict you'll spend in future years if you don't have kids yet, if you have kids but you're gonna have to pay for college in a few years? What's that number where all of these costs are fully covered?
Our target was very similar to yours, $1 million invested. That was our target. If we can get $1 million invested, we'll have 40 grand a year to live off for the rest of our lives.
And what's that calculation based on?
It's based on the 4% rule. The idea is the size of your pot, if you live off 4% of that, it'll never run out.
That's as long as it's invested in something, like it's not just cash under the mattress. It has to be like a growing asset.
Yes.
25 times your annual spending invested in index funds is enough to live off basically forever. You know, it's just small adjustments, little stars and asterisks and stuff, but that's a big number to just shoot for, and that's pretty much good enough.
If we spend $40,000 US per year, I need $1 million US, because
40,000 divided 4%, it's 1 million.
I feel like everyone who are either in this journey or have just this interest in finance and money had some sort of money trauma, I've been calling it. Like for me, I was at McDonald's. This guy thought my mom was poor because I was like, Mom, get me an ice cream. And he thought my mom couldn't afford the ice cream and walked up and handed my mom a $5 bill. And I didn't understand being like a 5-year-old. And you know, it was this thing that I always think about money when I think about money. And that,
Yeah.
do you have something like that?
No, but maybe there's a cumulative trauma of my dad being quite frugal throughout our childhood. It's just kind of funny, like there would always be a little bit of a limit on everything, and we were always the last family to get the microwave oven in the 80s and the last family to get a VCR. I didn't realize it, but my parents were just being smart with the amount of income they did have. It's not like they were saving 90%, like they were just being reasonable. I really like people to think about the old values of what makes society better, instead of just thinking what's going to make us more profits.
My dad was an incredible entrepreneur. He built some amazing businesses and then blew everything spectacularly. Like he was making 45,000 US dollars a month and he just blew it all and went bankrupt for 5 million US dollars. And the only thing it was secured against was the family home that my mum, my brother, me lived in. And I spent 10 years arguing in court, fighting to keep the home. And I think that inspired me that I never want to live like that.
I think this place will sell today. It's listed for $254. I think it's gonna go for $254 or $260. Take a quick tour. And this was my room. It used to be orange and green up until like a month or so ago when we got it painted. My bed was here for the longest time, and then my desk was here usually. And this is my parents' room. I'd sleep in my parents' bed a lot, like especially when my dad working the late shift, I'd fall asleep in his bed and then he'd like to carry me over. And like when my mom passed away, like I slept in her side for a long time. And I don't know, like, this is a nice room. It's nice because it kind of looks the same. Yeah, I'm getting emotional, but like, it's like, yeah, it's weird. I think their idea was to hold on to money because it can go really fast or because shit could hit the fan anytime. And I think because of that, I'm very much that way. That's why I'm a saver. I don't think I learned a lot from them about money, but I think you do second-handedly because you see parents or people you love like struggle for money and it makes you feel so bad and guilty. I feel like my parents fucking suffered to like give me this life, to give me money, to give me, my bank account right now is filled with blood money and I don't like it and that's why I don't know what to fucking do at this point with it. It's weird that my parents were planning on this, like to leave me with money of all things. Like I don't fucking want money, I want them. Smile. I'm with my dad. Say hi.
Hi.
And
Excuse me, could you start again, please?
No, we're gonna keep going. It's funny when like someone passes away, you don't really think that's what's gonna, they turn into money, you know? That's their legacy.
Why should your son go to Australia?
He deserves that, that's what I... That doesn't get old. We'll pick something else.
High five out. Oh.
Let's say I die tomorrow. This is what's left of me. Like this, what you're looking behind me, that's what's left. It's so weird, that idea, that everything just dwindles down to this fake number that no one cares about. Or unless you really care about it, you know, type thing.
The more you think about it, the kind of more it takes you into this weird rabbit hole of like, what exactly is money?
For a lot of people, money becomes a way to get social status. And I think that's really kind of the enemy.
Money was a point of contention and stress, and my parents would fight about money.
My mum used to repeat, money is the root of all evil. It took many years to change that to my current philosophy, money is freedom.
People think money is an abstract type of thing. Money is only a transfer of value.
Money is a tool.
A tool? A tool. Tool? A tool for giving myself more options.
Having money is kind of that financial cushion to provide flexibility in the future.
Money is this game piece that I can use to sort of, you know, beat the system at its own game. Yeah.
So I actually think people make the mistake of thinking that money is a tool, but money is actually a form of energy. So money is at the heart of so many ways in which the world works. And you have to ultimately use that energy to make your life better, but what that means changes over time.
I feel like money and me are kind of like tap water. You know, it's just like, it's there, but not exciting. Like you turn on the cold water tap when you need a drink of water, but you don't just be like, woo, look how much cold water I have. Oh, it's exciting, I need more of this. It's just the resource.
It's funny, your answer to like that relationship with money. You've been the closest one for me. I wish I liked it more. This is the thing, like I've always said, I'm like, I wish I wanted it so much more. I walk in the house sometimes, I'll be honest. I walk in and I go, Dad? And then I sometimes do this monologue in my head where I pretend like his voice and you go, hey boy. It's like, hey, and he's usually on his iPad here with his feet up and he's like that. And I have this like, and I do his voice and I do my voice and I have this little mini conversation as I come visit here. When someone close to you dies, you start reevaluating all your values and aspects and life goals. And you go, is this really what I want? Or is this that thing that society told me what I want? And I'm at that point in my life and career and stage where you're just constantly self-reflecting.
Total cash needed, 55 grand. Are you just gonna wait like this?
It's kind of fun to see how nervous you are.
I'm not nervous. It's already probably gone. 12 offers. Hey, man. Hey, how's it going? 12 offers, hey? That's crazy.
Yeah, she just messaged me.
I think 255, but you said to make it like a not even number, right? So what would you put in?
Yeah, 56, 3. I don't know, whatever you feel like, whatever your lucky numbers are.
Probably that, I don't know.
55.
256, 300? Yeah.
So we will increase our offer by $51,300. I'll keep you posted as soon as I get some answer from her, but it should be done in the next hour or so.
Okay, thanks. 256. I'm spending so much money. Am I gonna regret this? I don't know. Hey. America. Made it to New York. How do you get a cab around here?
There's this idea right now called FIRE.
Like an actual fire?
Well, so financial independence, retire early.
Yeah, I've
Do you
read
guys?
it. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
We are retired.
We are retired.
I'm not retired. I'm a musician, so I never retire.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I'm a comedian, so
I never
I still
retire.
work. I'm still working.
I don't think everyone necessarily wants fire. I don't think everyone necessarily wants to be saving their money. It just depends on your own values and what you want out of life.
We're all in art. Our job field is like pretty, yeah, you get it.
I've actively looked for jobs and found nothing.
It would be cool to live here because there seems to be like this energy that this is the center point where everything happens. But then I go, why the hell would I want to suffer here? Because I own property in Winnipeg. I own like a car. I have a giant dog. It feels like everything would be twice as much expensive to be here. So.
Well, I feel like a lot of people want to come to New York when they're young.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, if not now, then when?
Right. Do you guys think you'll ever be financially free living here? Or maybe not work till you're 80-year-old or something?
That's the dream.
Yeah.
Do you think it's even possible in New York? It's so expensive.
I don't know that it's a huge reality for our generation.
I always said when I turned 55, I'm never going to work another day in my life. And the taxes went from $1,800 to $20,000 at my house in Long Island. Lost one of my houses. You can't do that anymore in America. What they do is that they tax you through the nines. They tax you to where you have to work.
If you're not going to be working in New York, there's not really as much of a reason for you to be here. It can be a stressful city to be in.
It's easy to spend money here.
You're constantly being inundated with like, buy this, come to this attraction, enjoy this experience. It's just all the time. And it really takes a lot of discipline to not do that. Like any New Yorker can tell you that you can go through a month where you think, oh, I was really frugal this month. I didn't spend any money. And then you actually check your credit card statement and you're like, oh man, did I take that many Ubers? Did I order that much delivery? Like I'll watch a TikTok of some like lumberjack dude like chopping wood and like Minnesota, and sometimes I'll just have a stressful day and I'll be like, man, I could really just chop some wood all day. That'd be really, really nice. But then I return to the fact that some of the most brilliant, creative, amazing people in the world are here.
What is your relationship with money? And that's been a general question. And how do you want to answer that is up to you.
From a family perspective, I really hated it a lot for a long time. You know, like a lot of families, and I think especially around New York, there were, you know, major financial events that really shaped my childhood and like the person that I ended up becoming. 9/11 was obviously a huge part of my childhood. And then again, a couple of years later, you know, during the housing market crash, I think that really shaped the childhoods of me and a lot of my friends. People were talking about being in college and getting into options trading. A lot of people were saying, I want to do this because I hate Wall Street, because Wall Street caused my parents to lose everything. And so many people went through these struggles and they wanted to like take money from these institutions, you know, they wanted to democratize finance. So I think that really created this fervor around learning about investing.
Look at that, New York Stock Exchange.
Wow.
It's all under construction.
The scaffolding is beautiful.
Yeah. I guess it's appropriate to check my stock in front of the New York Stock Exchange. No!
Are you losing?
It's just down a little bit.
There's a heavy scent of weed in the air, and I think that's how people deal with losing money in this area. This guy coming up looks like he works on the stock exchange. Hello.
They don't give a fuck. I wonder like how many of these people that walk by here every day invest in the stock market? Probably not a lot.
Not a lot. I don't think so. I think the name Wall Street is just a name at this point. I don't know if it means anything. Like, you know, I think it's just a street now.
That's how people get rich, is it?
Stocks are owning a chunk of a business, and that business is producing value for society. So like you own a portion of like a steel mill, to be super old fashioned, and the steel mill is cranking out steel, and that's going out to make buildings and ships and useful stuff and houses that people live in. And by owning a portion of the steel mill, you own a portion of the sales and the profits of that. When the business is mature, it pays you dividends for owning it.
So there's three main ways that you can invest in the stock market. The first one is, oh, I like Facebook, I'm going to buy some of their shares. So you're choosing like a couple of companies to invest in. The second one is, I don't know which stock to buy. There's these clever people over there that they know what to do. I'll pay them to invest my money for me. So that's actively managed funds. And then the third way is, oh, okay, I don't want to choose stocks myself. I don't want to pay someone else to do it because I don't believe that they can get a good performance. I'm just going to buy a small piece of every single company that is publicly traded in the world, in the US, in Canada, wherever you want. So you own a small piece of every single company that's available to buy.
And that's index investing.
This seems too easy.
But it is. Yeah.
That's easy.
But why is it so easy then? Why isn't everyone not doing it?
I think it's just about education, Ian. Like you said, it's financial literacy.
The financial industry as a whole wants you to think that it's really complicated to invest. So, oh, it's really hard to invest, like it's really complicated. Don't you worry your pretty little head. Give me your money, pay me 1 or 2%.
You need an advisor.
You need an advisor. Official person in a suit. You like do it for me.
We trust you because you have a suit.
You could lose all of your money if you don't invest right. Anything too good to be true is probably something to really be aware or be careful, like financial scammers.
Are there people losing tons of their life savings? Of course, they're making crazy mistakes. That's why you gotta educate yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. All those little cliches are real, but really, it's not as scary as you think. I think you really do owe it to yourself, because I know you're smart enough, you're investing in other property and that kind of thing.
But there's a difference, because real estate, like here's the, I feel so proud to tell people I own property because it's a tangible thing, because it's hard to invest in property because you need a chunk of change to do it.
Especially in New York.
There's no investment that's risk-free. Everything has a matter of risk. It's just how much risk you're willing to tolerate. At least get it out of a savings account and get it into a bond that indexes to inflation. You may not get rich off of it, but if you leave it in a savings account, over the long term, you're definitely getting more poor.
If you do the math on it, you will start crying.
Not again. Why is this always out? Every time we meet someone, they tell me something I'm doing wrong in my life. Yeah, how easy is it to buy a stock now? Do I just go in the building?
No, don't do that.
Can I go in the building and ask, one stock, sir?
It's pretty easy. Well, you can create your RSP or TFSA, and then after you've put your money in, all you need to do is hit trade, and then you can type in whatever company you want to buy.
Are you gonna buy a stock right now? Buy one, buy a really expensive one.
I'm gonna buy 4 S&P 500, which is an index fund that tracks the 500 biggest companies here. I did it.
Oh.
I bought a stock.
Hey.
I bought 4 of them. Isn't that fast?
We did it. It still feels like gambling.
Because you don't understand it yet. Like,
is
you
that
have
why?
to do your
I feel
own
like,
research.
but I feel like majority of people would see it as gambling still. Oh, good dog, good dog. Marcus, you gotta get this dog.
That's a beautiful, handsome dog.
That's a beautiful dog.
There's so many corgis here.
That dog got a booty. I feel the money flow through me. The digital currency is flying through me right now.
Well, look at all the ups and downs. Look.
I know, it's kind of fun to look at that. I wish it was like really big.
0.40.
Like in my head, I thought it was like a ticker all across the top there. Why didn't they do that? Money stresses me out. I'm feeling more stressed being here now and spending money and having to decide what to do with like all this, my dad inheritance and all this money. Like, what do I do with it now? I don't want to invest in stocks, but it also feels like somebody should, like I should. I don't know, feels like everyone keeps telling me to.
Whatever math that you're gonna try to do to figure out whether you've hit FI or not, ultimately there's some assumption that it's based on. You know, it's based on some safe withdrawal rate.
Goodbye, Wall Street, you were mediocre.
Whether that's 4% or 3%. I don't want my, future success to be a probability. The reality is, it always is.
It's not as simple as get $1 million, earn 4% a year, and now we have $40,000 every year. It is not that simple because over time we go through periods of massive inflation where housing prices increase, the price of fuel increases, the price of food increases, and we have no idea to what extent these prices are increasing. This puts a really big dent in the philosophy of FIRE because it really shows you that there is so much uncertainty.
And so you reach this arbitrary financial goal and then something happens like a pandemic or just, hyperinflation or any number of things that sort of make reaching that goal, mean less compared to the general sense of feeling good about where you are and who you are.
It's so easy to spend money here. Like, can you even resist it? I feel like it's hard for New Yorkers. That's the price you pay to be in the center of the universe, I guess.
I absolutely do not think index funds will support everyone there. I don't think everyone in New York could do FIRE even if they wanted to. I think we talked to an outlier yesterday, Max. I think he is an outlier. Whether you come from a poor background, immigrant background, whatever, there's privilege to it all. Yeah. It's a great city, though. That's some things.
How many?
Just for me. A black stallion, they say. Marcus! Hi! Hi! Hi!
How much was that?
That was $3.50 American, so probably $5 Canadian.
Worth it?
You tell me. You ever see me smile so much in my life? There's a picture of my dad and I on a merry-go-round I've been thinking about and I was looking at. I don't know, I was just thinking about that when I walked by it. The traditional sense retiring is like, no more am I working. And my dad, when he retired, had no hobbies or anything. And when he retired, I remember it being really sad and I felt more of a burden on myself because I had to take care of him. I felt I had to be his entertainment or something because he didn't really have anything. And so retiring is scary in my head. I don't know if necessarily I want to retire. I just want fucking freedom to do whatever I want, which I have. And so, in some sense, I won. I just don't know what to do now.
I am going to FIRE in April of this coming year. I'm having a big existential crisis about it because actually, no matter how badly you want a change in life, when that change finally comes, especially when it's an enormous change, you have to rediscover what it is that really motivates you in life. You have to get back in touch with who you are as a person, what your values are, and you have to find a new routine. Right now, when I'm feeling depressed, when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling like I'm not my best self, it's easy for me to blame work. Once that excuse is taken away, I am the only person who's responsible for my own happiness, which sounds great, but in reality is actually pretty intimidating. Having no fig leaf to hide behind is pretty scary.
It might not seem to people who are working a 9 to 5 and want to get out of that that's an issue, but when you have 12 hours a day that's unstructured, you can battle some mental battles you've never fought before of what's my meaning, what's my purpose, what am I doing here? Am I fulfilling my potential? Like all those things. So your relationship with money can change depending on all that.
I am semi-retired. Like, I don't really need to work, at least for the next while if I don't want to. Maybe I'm blessed and privileged to be in this certain problem and situation. Like, I shouldn't be complaining about having too much time and like being this secure in my life right now, but I guess it's good.
It's been cathartic to like understand it's not a bad thing. I can do something with it to make my dad happy, me happy, something.
Time to find out. Moment of truth. She just messaged me that they accepted another offer. It's a non-conditional offer, meaning no condition for financing. Unfortunately, we cannot place an offer like that. I guess I didn't get the house.
Why aren't you having fun, Quan?
I feel like I'm very lucky to lose the other bid. Being probably a lot of money less in debt, $200,000 to be exact, and also not doing this. Like right now, I don't have to worry about anything because I just live in a tiny apartment with roommates, you know?
You never did anything like this in Vietnam? Like, you don't have to clean the gutters or?
No. I'll show you my childhood home that I grew up in one day. I feel like there's no flat roof there. It's just too much rain.
So what's the actual cost of living in Vietnam?
Where I'm from, it's basically like Toronto.
Yeah.
And I think to live our lifestyle, maybe it's $500 to $1,000 a month. You know, so you can clearly do that just with this income. I've been gone for like 6 years, so I really want to see what it is now, you know, like what's the minimum that you can live there, and maybe I can just move there with finding a rental here and then FIRE there just by doing that, you know. We've been to New York, we've been to Toronto, we've been to Cincinnati, and we're at one of the cheaper cities in Canada, so maybe it's time we look at a different part of the world.
Sort of this great resignation thing that's been kind of going on for a lot of folks where they're really looking at work and saying, you know what, I really don't want to do that. The hardest part about FIRE is saving money, right? Saving money generally sucks, right? But there are tools and strategies to make the sacrifices or the changes in your lifestyle less painful. And a perfect example for me is I use geoarbitrage. Geoarbitrage is just a fancy term for saying that the prices in one neighborhood or one city or one country can be higher or lower than a different location. The last I looked, the average one bedroom in the US is $1,700 a month. And 10 minutes from here, across some stunning rice paddies, we rent a huge one-bedroom house. It's 2 stories, 2 bathrooms, with a giant koi pond in the middle, a nice yard out in front, you know, a nice view overlooking the rice paddies and the sunset, and we spend $400 a month. Yeah. Utilities included, including high-speed internet.
It feels like traveling costs a lot of money, but it actually doesn't if you do it the way that we do it.
You are earning money in a country with a very strong currency, and then you're spending it in a place with a very weak currency. So for example, we earned Canadian dollars, and then when we traveled, we went to Thailand and then spent Thai baht. So the buying power has significantly increased. So you've just given yourself a raise without actually having to do any work. And I think this will actually become more mainstream going forward, because prior to the pandemic, people didn't really understand remote work. Like if you're a digital nomad, people are like, what does that mean? What do you mean you can work online? You obviously have to go to an office. But now that it has become more accepted and people can actually work from anywhere in the world, they can take advantage of geographic arbitrage.
I don't know, something about here that just makes me feel way more laid back, and I think maybe at some point in my life, it does make sense to move back here and live an easier life, because It's tiring sometimes to constantly hustle and, you know, look at the stock market all the time. You know, crazy that it's 2 p.m. and we've already had 2 cups of coffee today.
It's crazy that it's 3 a.m. Winnipeg time. 6 drinks. $12? Let me just count all this. Guess I could just drop $1 million on this bad boy. See, that's how rich you are here. Just carry $1 million.
I used to ride these streets as a broke kid. But look at me now. I made it.
Maybe Marco is right. Maybe just bounce around, live here for a month, drive around, do this shit. This is pretty fun.
I know, I love the pulpit. You should try later.
I'll die.
Okay, we're going to my childhood home.
I knew it. You excited?
I don't know, it's crazy. I haven't been there since I was 10. It's right here in this alley. So different now. It's it, 95. I think they sold it for, I guess 14 years ago it was 100K. So now it's probably 300K or more than that, 400K. I think they bought it for way less, you know, like 50K or something, or 60. So they made decent money and we moved out to somewhere cheaper, closer to my school for a better environment, I guess.
Yeah, did you ever buy it back?
I wonder. It's not bad. If I move back here, I'd probably just buy it back.
I know. I think that about my dad's house. Like, I don't want it anymore, but maybe it'll be like 5 years from now, I'll buy back all my childhood houses.
Yeah.
And those are become my rental properties, and it's my legacy, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how weird would that be?
I wonder how much this would be, but I would probably buy it back.
It would
rent
be,
it out.
you know, if there's ever a story for you to own property in Vietnam, it'd be like, I own my childhood home. It's very cool.
Yeah, I think my parents really had to save for a while to buy this. They borrowed money from my grandparents. They saved up for a long, long time. Oh my God, all my neighbors are coming up.
Everyone's here. Party has arrived. A lot of stuff I can't understand. I think they're just reminiscing. I think they're discussing how Quan's very successful now and how he's not married but has a giant head.
Check this out.
So no one lives here, eh? It doesn't look like it.
Bây giờ còn có ai ở đây không mẹ hay là trong mướn? Yeah. It's kind of sad when you look at your childhood home and not like a happy family lives there, you know, it's for rental. I should just buy it and rent it out.
That was my thing. My dad's house, I could buy it and like rent it out instead of selling it, or like, you know, keep it. But I knew like anyone that lived there was they're gonna treat it like crap as a rental.
I could probably imagine myself living here, to be honest.
Feels like a nice neighborhood, except for the guy holding knives. Just clapping.
No, he's like selling
oh, I see.
snacks.
Oh, I see.
Oh, except that there's a rat hanging out, you know?
Oh, there's a rat. Marcus, get the rat. Marcus, get the rat. I so rarely see rats in my life. Oh, I've never really seen a rat this close. It's very cute. We could. Hey. No, nothing.
It's crazy how much Vietnam has grown. I always thought that somehow one day they'll just invent a door where you can just walk through and I end up here at night after work. You know, or I just go there if I have a shoot.
Isn't that funny though? You're right, because like this is like a fun place to party. Like it'd be fun to come here on the weekends. And just, like,
for me, it's just like
cheap and
everyday
fun.
life is just so much cheaper.
It is, but like everyday life also seems like noisier, a little more pollution.
It's a developing country, and I feel like I'm also developing, and maybe I can be a part of it.
Yeah.
Or maybe after I've done making money in Canada, the rest of my life, besides my working life, can be developed around here.
Yeah, actually, you know, this place gives me anxiety, but it's fun. This is an adventure to be here. I think like talking to Marco, I kind of got excited. He got me pumped up, so I'm like, your life sounds really cool. But then like after the fact, I'm like, my life's fucking just as cool. Like, I don't know, I enjoy my life. I don't need to be here for it, but it's fun to visit. Look, it's sold. I did it. We listed at 254. We sold at 245. We wanted at least 260. I do want to like carve my name somewhere in the house at some point. I will. I didn't bring a knife or anything today, but I think I will do that at some point. And like
I got my pocket knife.
Sorry?
I got a pocket knife.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. When my dad passed away, all his like mutual funds and all those like investments, you know, cashed them out. So they gave all of us divided checks and they added up to like quite a bit, like 80K. Like, it was weird, like I didn't cash them for forever. They just sat in my like house, like by my sink. I just wanted to peek at everything while I got a chance still. It just felt like, oh, this is like my parents' life savings basically. It's gonna feel nice not to come here anymore. And now this is the other half of their life savings, like all the money they put in. So now I have X amount of all their entire savings. Like there's nothing left to liquefy. This is it. So I was thinking of doing it like I don't, cause they're gonna wall this part in maybe, like they might insulate this. My dad didn't use this money for traveling. He just sat on it for me. Maybe I can use it for traveling. Go buy a small little beach house in Bahamas and sit there for like a year. Do that instead of whatever, putting the money in something smart. It reads, Ian Bawa. Let's go. Oh.
I have a garage now. So after losing the bid on the other place, I was just browsing, trying to look for a good deal. And this place came up. They were asking $220K. It's a 1-bedroom, 967 square foot, but I got it for $197. So I just got possession today. I guess from 6 a.m. today, it's mine. And first time I'll ever open it up. Bought a couple of chairs on Marketplace yesterday. 20 bucks for 2. That's a fire move. It's not opening. I knew this was gonna happen. I did it. Welcome to my crib. I was pretty afraid of overspending or something just because it's not like a house, and people always say that condos are a bad investment, or they don't even call condos investments, but I don't know, I kind of like it. Good first buy, I think, just for me to build equity. Hopefully one day take equity out and buy another one. It was crazy to go to the lawyer's office and give them the 40 grand check. That was the scariest moment of my life. Put down a 20% down, so I have 157 grand of mortgage now. I am $157,000 in debt as of today. Good morning, Winnipeg. It's definitely not the view that I imagined I would have in my life, but hey, could be way worse. That's the first time in my life I've ever had debt, and that's the only debt I have now. I've never had a car payment, never anything. Marcus, help! How do I fix this? Will I have to get a new door? Or just take this out? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you have to replace the entire door, for sure.
Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Oh yeah. How am I gonna fix this door? Oh man. It begins here.
What Pete, Mr. Money Mustache, preaches is spend as little as possible or I'm gonna punch you in the face. And that was the original FIRE kind of thing. It has its appeal to some people, less appeal to other people who don't like being punched in the face. So that original FIRE became kind of like lean FIRE, which is like, yeah, like how do I spend as little as possible to get to FIRE as quickly as possible?
Now they have these concepts of like fat FIRE. Some people are like, you know what, I'm not gonna be happy unless I retire on $5 million a year. It's in some ways started to become inaccessible to some people because they start seeing these numbers like 5 million, 2 million, 3 million, and they think, how am I ever going to get there? Right. And it's quite different than what it was 10 years ago when people were like, yeah, you know, maybe if I can get to 500,000 or so, I can really swing this.
We kind of created this like traveling FIRE thing, which is use travel as a way to boost your way to FIRE. And then there's other people that they save up the money, then they buy a homestead in like Virginia somewhere, and they go live in the forest, and then that becomes like forest FIRE, right?
There's so many groups and cliques of no matter what, if you're like a woman working in tech, there is a FIRE group for you. If you are an
artist, there's Artist FIRE.
It is a very, very welcoming community. I think people are so shameful and repressed and easily misunderstood when it comes to money that it feels like liberating, like we're all just tearing off our clothes by just hopping into these hopping into these communities and just saying, here's how much money I make.
Yeah.
Here's how much money I owe. My God, this is liberating.
I set up a Wealth Simple account to start e-trading, I guess is the best way of saying it. Maybe I'll buy some index funds. I don't really know what I'm doing, but everyone has been saying how easy it is. Best Canadian index funds. GIBC, RBC, it's all banks. None of this makes sense to me. Is this that easy? Okay, I think I'll invest 500. What's the worst that would happen? I'm gonna lose $500? I've lost more. So I'm buying 5 shares at $89 of VFV, which is an index fund of the top 500. This is my first time buying any sort of stocks or index funds or anything. Confirm, this is it. Well, there you go. Portfolio. I have a portfolio now. Ooh, look, it's gone up already. I think I'm 2 cents richer. Diamond, let's buy you a new house. I went down. I broke even. This game's too stressful. I need to sell it all. Whatever it just did doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like I moved $500. But if it makes me a millionaire, no kill. I don't know. It feels weird though.
Your money views and your money philosophy are so deeply embedded, and they come to you from people you love. They come to you from early influences in your life. It's not as simple as like, I make these bad decisions or these good decisions because I am a bad or a good person. It's like someone role modeled this for me and I'm just repeating it. And if you're assigning a value to it, whether it's good or bad, it's almost like you're offending or disrespecting the way that I grew up.
The last time we had sat and had coffee before we started the FIRE journey was about 8 months ago.
Yeah. What do you think about FIRE now?
I feel relatively bad about how much money is sitting in my bank account currently because it's not doing anything for me sitting there. But I know there's options now and it feels less scary, but also feels like something I should do. I just like, taking the next step. I feel like I have all the information and it's up to me now whether I choose to like the match. And
so do you feel like you're free now?
No, yeah, to an extent, yes and no. I think money, we say it's a tool so much, like everyone has been calling it a tool. It rules the world, so I think no matter what, I'm going to need it, want it, crave for it. But like you said, it's become the option where I get to choose the work, choose what I do to obtain it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took away from the FIRE stuff too. FIRE looks different for everyone, but ultimately it just buys you freedom, right? And I think even though like I haven't hit a certain number yet, but I just feel more free now.
It's an empowering, proactive stance of like, hey, maybe we can help you think about your money and your values differently so that you could learn to not live with this kind of like, I will just lay back and let the tide carry me away like I'm Ophelia just drifting down the river.
Totally. And I don't think most people ever take the time to consider what life they're building. They just like bumble along following the standard plan. But if you want to have an extraordinary life, you have to build it. And it takes time.
It feels like there's a right and wrong, when in reality there is no right or wrong. It's purely you have to find the system or the investment or the strategy that works for you to get your end outcome. And everybody's different, so that's going to be different for every person.
When I first started this FIRE journey, I really looked into the numbers and like keep looking forward to like hitting numbers and numbers and numbers. Now I'm just like giving myself some slack and just chill a little bit on all the like saving and investing and just focusing so much on the numbers and just enjoy the ride.
I think you forget how young you are.
I do forget how young I am.
I think that's the issue.
I would go back to that younger version of myself and be like, yo, it's okay. Like, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, value yourself, value your time.
Like, there's so many different blueprints. You know, you can take what you need from each of these and leave the rest.
It almost seems a little bit addicting too at times. Like, everyone I've talked to, like, once you're in it, you're constantly checking the numbers, you're looking at those spreadsheets. And I think the way I see the world is like, I'm doing it already, and I've been doing it kind of my own way.
Life isn't just about being pragmatic. Life isn't just about making money. Life is about spending time with people you love, doing the things that you love, and then enjoying it.
Taking some time to think about things and how to make your life the most enjoyable. And that involves a lot of fields, like not just money, it's like health and mental health and relationships and families and learning, spending a lot of time learning.
You know, focusing on, you know, what brings you happiness, putting more time with the family, the people that you love, friends that you love. If I look at the overall, it's pretty awesome in a way that is happening now.
I have days where I go, oh my God, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my money, with what I'm doing in my career. And then there's other days I wake up, I go, man, I'm the best. I figured it all out a long time ago. I can go have my coffee on the beach every day. And look at us now, beach from Vietnam to beach in Manitoba.